everyone, and welcome to the Potscast. Listen, I know it looks weird to have the microphone in my hair, but my friend, who's a BBC producer and knows all about sound, he told me that that's the best place for it, not here. Anyway, we're testing it out. You're gonna have to ignore it. I know it's weird because all my hair's out. You caught me on one of those rare occasions when my hair is all out because I'm going to have it twisted later on this afternoon. So I had to give it a wash. Anyway, anywho, let's get back to the podcast, shall we? Although I feel a bit of a fraud calling it a pottery podcast, seeing as I haven't done any pottery for a while. And I was going to start again with a little bit of pottery this week. But once you've heard my whole story, you'll understand why I've decided to do no more pottery for the time being. Okay. I'm really shit at doing a setup, aren't I? So, update. We have a final price. Okay, that's annoying me now. We have a final price and a finalised floor plan. Before we continue, I'm going to remind you of two things that I have said previously. The first thing I have said was that I'm designing my dream property and I'm probably not going to be able to get all of it because it's my dream. But I wanted to know how much my full dream was going to cost before I, lowered my expectations a little. The second thing that I have said was that even though I had a complete lull and nothing had been happening, and by complete lull, I mean I've sent out 2 quotations, and one of my hotels is due for another order right about now. So I wasn't concerned that I hadn't heard anything from the quotations and I hadn't heard anything from the other hotel. And I explained that because until I know how much money I need to get, the universe can't help me get it. So we were all waiting until I had a price. As soon as I know how much it's going to be, I was thinking that all of the things that I've put out would then start coming back. And if the universe is really helping, it should be able to pay for my building, which, by the way, means if you haven't already secured your pottery retreat, you might not ever have a chance. I swear, as soon as I get the money, I'm quietly going in and deleting the link. I'm just saying. So, another summary. I have designed a 2-story building with my studio space downstairs and a little pod on top where I wanted to live. Now, before I got my final pricing, I was thinking of my structure and I thought, you know what, I'd actually kind of like to live in the bedroom downstairs in the studio, and maybe I'll keep the pod for my office. So bear in mind that before I'd actually got the final price, I'd already decided that the top was kind of a office space, extra space. Don sends me the price. I look at the price for the building itself. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's actually around the price that I was expecting. And with the glass walls. And then I looked down at the shipping price and I nearly had a fucking heart attack. The shipping price was almost the same price as the building. And so I started to panic. And then I remembered I was getting a 2-story building. That means 2 containers. So the shipping price was for 2 containers. So immediately I realised I'm going to have to let go of the pod. It wasn't that difficult. It was a 2-second thought. Oh, yeah, shit, the pod has to go. Oops. Anyway, I imagined, okay, if we get rid of the pod, which means it's only one container being shipped, I did a quick recalculation in my head and I'm thinking if I'm right, this should come in on budget. Now, at the same time, I had my hairdresser, who I'm going to this afternoon. She is an ex-customs woman, and so I asked her to find out what the customs duty would be on the building when it arrived. So I had it in my head it was going to be 40% because these customs people are fucking crazy. But in the end, it's only 23%. So I'm thinking, fabulous, that's affordable. So I'm thinking, I can do this if everything's as I did my rough calculations in my head. So I'm waiting on tenterhooks for the new price. Now, remember I had my birthday last week? What I didn't tell you, or I might not have told you, was that in the middle of my birthday lunch, I got a phone call. Now, remember what I said? I was in a lull. I hadn't heard anything because the universe didn't know how much money I was going to need, so it wasn't going to bother working until it knew what it needed to do to help me. So I'm having my birthday lunch, get a phone call. Guess who the phone call's from? It's from one of my hotels. So I thought, I'm not going to answer it because it was my birthday lunch. So I thought, he'll ring back. And on Monday, I spoke to him because on Monday, I found out exactly what I needed. And then when I was speaking to him, I said, okay, you want more pottery? Great. What would you like? And he says, we don't know yet, but we'll get back to you when we do. And I'm like, great. When are you going to get back to me? Are we talking 4 months? Are we talking 3 months? Or are we talking next month? And he says, next month. Now, coincidentally, the same person who possibly has a nice pottery order for me is also the person who has provisionally said that he would consider funding my training programs. So when I had the conversation with him on Monday, I said, listen, when I come in to talk about the pottery, can we talk about the training programs afterwards? Are you still prepared to fund them? He says, yes. So do you know what that means? If I'm lucky and with a good wind behind me, it could be that I will come out of that meeting with my entire building funded and 2 training programs to get started on. I'm very excited, and I'm at the point where not I personally, but my dream of my building is like Schrödinger's cat, because my dream could be alive and absolutely well, or it could be dead. We're not 100% certain, because there's a possibility that in one meeting I can get all of my funding for my building, or if none of it goes my way, I could have nothing. So my dream is either alive or dead, depending on observation. And I'm at the stage where I believe it's either halfway alive or pretty much there, and I'll know for certain after one meeting, which is a good position to be in, seeing as that's my first like tentacle that I've put out, and I have other tentacles to explore. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and I truly believe that I'm going to do it because I looked outside of the box. Literally, I decided to go outside of the box, and now I'm being an innovator on the island. Oh, also, I nearly forgot to tell you why I decided not to do any pottery this week. Basically, because the hotel's been in touch, I now know I'm going to get an order very soon. Now, if I get this order, I've decided that I'm not going to say no to him. Because normally, when I go into these meetings with this particular hotel, he'll say, "Can I have 100?" And I say, "No, you'll have 20 and you'll like it." But this time I've decided I'm going to make him what he wants. I'm not going to say no to him. Now, because of this, that then means that instead of spending 3 months making pottery every day, it's likely that it's going to be a bigger order, therefore it's might take me more. So because I'm probably going to spend the next 3 to 6 months making pottery every day, I have decided I'm not going to make any pottery this week or until I get the order. I'm not making any pottery. So I might skip a couple of weeks of the Potscast and I'll come back when I've got the order. So we might have to take a little July break in the Potscast so you can all go off on holiday or whatever and come back in August when I have the order and I'm starting the pottery again. I'm not doing anything until I start because I know I'm just going to be doing it every day for months and months and months. So I'm going to enjoy this time off. There you go. Sorry about that. If you want me to still continue and keep giving you updates on life on St. Lucia, I'll keep doing that. But yeah, let me know. Because my initial thought is I'll probably just do a pause until the beginning of August. So I'm going to do that unless people tell me otherwise. As you can see, mango season is in full swing. Look at the amount of mangoes on that bloody tree. Now, even though Mum chopped this tree down and cut off all the big branches of this tree, so we're not getting any mangoes off of this tree this year, this tree has decided to go over bloody board. Now, don't forget, we have another 4 trees round the back. We have a dehydrator now, and I might end up just having a load of mango powder. Now, mango powder is fantastic because it has a very intense mango flavour, and it's my favourite thing to make cupcakes with my mum's plantain flour. You have mango banana cupcakes. You take out half of the flour quantity and replace it with my mum's plantain flour, and then I just add amount of mango powder to taste, and suddenly you've got mango banana cupcakes. It's fantastic. So today's smoothie is courtesy of all the fruits that we have just lying around the house and garden. Basically, we have mango, because one was about to go off, so I thought I'd use it. We got given some bananas yesterday, so it's banana. There's a pineapple that my mum bought. I told her not to buy from the supermarket, but she bought from the supermarket. It was way overpriced, and it has no flavour whatsoever, so I'm not counting the pineapple as a pineapple. I'm counting it as a bulking agent. And instead, I use my pineapple syrup to give it a pineapple flavour. And yeah, I put some frozen strawberries in it because I like it cold. And we don't have frozen mango at this time of year because we're keeping up. Because it's just started and we've only got a few mangoes, so we can keep up at this time of year. When it starts getting overwhelming, that's when we start freezing. I was taking my washing up to hang up, and as I went under the sugar apple tree, there's so many sugar apples. We're going to have loads this year. Look, there's a guava as well. Loads and loads of sugar apples. Loads. And loads of sugar apples. Look, there's even a little baby sugar apple. Also, I don't want to brag, but we have another avocado. Right there. Yeah, we've got 2. What I'm planning to do next week is mark out my floor plan on the slab. I'll also put a picture to give you a front-on view. So this will be looking at the building from the balcony, so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. Now, it's not going to look exactly like that, because remember, I've custom designed it, but there's going to be like a terrace area and glass walls. So it will look almost like that, but not 100%. And in case you're wondering how it's put up, I'm going to add at the end the little video that my little salesman sent me of how you put it up once it arrives. This episode of the Potscast was carefully assembled by me, Amanda, on the island of St. Lucia. Bye. If you want to have a go at doing what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, check out my pottery retreat.